Welcome to today's video. I want to take you back in time, over 2,000 years ago, to a moment that changed history forever. It's a story about a king, a man feared by many, but more than anything, terrified of a child. A king named Herod. Now, Herod wasn't just any king. He was ruthless, cunning, and ruled Judea with an iron fist under the watchful eye of the Roman Empire. But even with all his power, something about this baby shook him to his core. You might be wondering, why would a grown man, a mighty king, be afraid of a newborn? That's what we're about to explore, so settle in. Let's journey together into Herod's fear. What did he know? To understand Herod's fear, we need to understand Herod himself. Herod the Great was appointed king by the Romans. A man with a complex background, half Jewish, but not fully trusted by his people. He was a builder. He built great cities like Caesarea, impressive palaces, and the magnificent Second Temple in Jerusalem. But behind all that glory was a man gripped by paranoia. Herod was notorious for his cruelty. He had his own wife, Mariamne, killed, and even his sons weren't safe from his suspicion. His throne was a fragile thing, constantly threatened by enemies, real and imagined. He ruled through fear because fear was what kept him alive. But then, he heard a rumor of a new king, a king born not of power and war, but of prophecy and promise. Enter the Magi. These were not just ordinary men. They were wise scholars, astronomers from the East, possibly from Persia or Babylon. For months, they had been watching the skies. One night, a star appeared, brighter and more mysterious than any other. They believed this star was the sign of a king's birth. And so they journeyed west, following the star through deserts and hills, all the way to Jerusalem. When they arrived, they asked a question that shook the palace walls. Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. Now, imagine this. A group of foreigners shows up asking about a newborn king. For Herod, this was no casual curiosity. This was a threat. He knew something, and he was deeply troubled. What did Herod know? He knew the ancient prophecies. He called his priests and scribes and asked them, "Where is the Messiah to be born?" And they told him, "In Bethlehem, as the prophet Micah said." Here's the chilling part. Herod didn't go to Bethlehem to worship this child. No, he asked the Magi to find the child for him, saying, "Go and search carefully for the child. When you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." But Herod's heart was not seeking worship. It was seeking control. He feared the promise of a new king more than anything else. The Magi obeyed, and the star led them right to Bethlehem, to a humble home where Mary and Joseph had just welcomed their baby. They knelt, they worshipped, and they gave gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, symbols of kingship, divinity, and suffering to come. But after their visit, they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod. So, they went back home another way. Now, when Herod realized the Magi had tricked him, his fear turned into rage. To stop the threat, he did something unthinkable. He ordered the killing of every male child 2 years old and under in Bethlehem and its vicinity. This brutal act is known as the massacre of the innocents. Can you imagine the terror, the cries of mothers and the heartbreak of families? Herod's paranoia had unleashed terrible suffering. The Bible tells us this tragic event fulfilled a prophecy from Jeremiah about weeping in Ramah. But the story doesn't end there. God sent an angel to warn Joseph in a dream. Joseph took Mary and Jesus and fled to Egypt, escaping Herod's murderous grasp. While Herod's kingdom was built on fear and violence, God's plan was built on protection and hope. Herod feared a child, but that child was destined to bring salvation to the world, not destruction. So what does this mean for us today? Herod knew enough to fear the child Jesus, but he didn't know or wouldn't accept the true meaning of that child. What about you? What do you know? Do you see Jesus as a threat to your control or a savior to your soul? Herod tried to silence the truth with violence, but the truth could not be stopped. Jesus' kingdom is eternal and invites all to come and worship. As we reflect on Herod's fear, let's choose to be like the Magi, searching, seeking, and bowing before the true King. Because this story is not just history, it's hope, it's promise, and it's alive today. Thank you for listening. If you want to know more about the incredible story of Jesus, stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. God bless you.